Hey there guys, my name is Christopher from the Red Rising Group, and welcome back to the Arifureta Season 1 Recap Series. This is part 3, and we'll be finishing up everything which occurred in Volume 1 of the light novel. With the news of Season 2 of Arifureta set to release on the 13th of January 2022, I felt like I needed to try and finish this recap series as fast as possible. So, do expect the next parts to be longer than 10 minutes. Anyways, in case you guys missed the previous episodes, then I highly recommend you all to watch both of them before watching this one in order to keep yourselves up to date. But before we carry on, if you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to like the video and comment down below if you're excited about the second season of Arifureta. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you like this video, because I can assure you that if you did enjoy this video, you'll most definitely like the other videos that we make here on the channel. Anyways, with that all said and done, let's dive on into the video. From where we left off, Hajime had managed to defeat the Claw Bear, which had terrorized him to no end. After the battle, he began going further down into the labyrinth in search of an exit, killing every monster standing in his path and growing stronger after eating their meat. On the other hand, back at the surface, Shizuku and the other heroes returned to the palace in order to inform the king about the events which had transpired at the labyrinth, especially regarding the news about Hajime's supposed demise. However, instead of feeling sad or remorse about his death, the king and his fellow councilmen all cheered about the weakling's death and how they were relieved that the hero Amanogawa Koki was still alive and well. This obviously angered Shizuku, but before she could act out, Koki claimed that no negative comments shall be made about the demised Hajime, which led to massive praise from the council. However, as much as that bothered Shizuku, she was more concerned about Kaori. Ever since the incident happened 5 days ago, Kaori had been in a small coma and was still asleep to this very day. Though, the moment she woke up, she immediately began asking questions regarding Hajime's safety. Of course, to which Shizuku had to break the news to her that he had died at the labyrinth. Kaori, obviously distressed by the news, cried into her friend's arms. However, instead of just mourning the loss of her friend, Kaori decided that she was going to get stronger, not just to prevent something similar from occurring again, but her main intention strives from her desire to reunite with Hajime, whom she believes is still alive and waiting for help down in the labyrinth. With that goal in mind, and with Shizuku's help, this was the start of Kaori's journey to reunite with the boy she loved. Speaking of Hajime, the synergists continued pushing forth through the Orcus labyrinth in search of an exit. Upon reaching the 50th floor, Hajime comes across a large door with two Cyclops standing by it, as if they were guarding it. Due to his curiosity and the fact that this was the first thing he saw aside from monsters in the labyrinth, he decided to enter it after killing the two monsters in his path. After entering the room, he heard a feminine voice call out to him. There, he saw a beautiful girl with golden blonde hair trapped deep within a rock. Both parties were shocked when they saw each other. After all, who would expect seeing another person this deep into a dungeon? However, pushing aside her shock, the girl immediately cried for help, but Hajime just ignored her, believing that she was trapped because she was a dangerous individual. Though before he could leave, the blonde girl cried out to him once more. I was betrayed, she cried out, causing Hajime to stop in place. Those words obviously resonated in Hajime's heart. After all, he had been betrayed by one of his classmates as well, which led him to his current situation. Our main protagonist eventually decided to help the girl out, despite his original reluctance, as he used his transmutation ability on the rock, eventually freeing the girl from her cell. Upon saving her, she asked for his name, to which he tells her, but the moment he asked her back, she gave an unexpected response. "Give me one." Hajime was confused by this, and the girl said that she no longer needed the name of her past, and that she wanted him to give her a new one. Because of how her golden hair shined brightly within the darkness, which reminded him of the moon, Hajime decided to give her the name Yue. However, this light-hearted moment was quickly ruined when a monster jumped onto them. Hajime quickly deduced that it was created with the intention of preventing Yue from escaping. Unfortunately for it, with the two combining together, they managed to defeat the giant scorpion. Later that night, Hajime revealed everything which had happened to him that led him to this current situation to Yue, including of his goal to return back to his original world. Of course, hearing this disheartened Yue, as she no longer had a place she could call home. After all, she had been betrayed by her uncle and was imprisoned for centuries before she was finally free. Hajime, on the other hand, was at a dilemma. Even though he had already decided to live only for himself, that no one else would matter. Despite all that, he'd offered her a place to come along with him, and offered to bring her together to his world if the chance were to arise. An offer which she happily accepts, of course. On that same day, back on the surface, after spending weeks training themselves, Koki and the other heroes finally returned back to the labyrinth in order to remove the mental scars they suffered that day. Upon reaching the 60th floor, they came face to face against the very same monster which had crushed their spirits, the Behemoth. While it may have took everyone's efforts, but the group finally managed to defeat the monster. And after defeating it, Kaori was filled with determination to carry on going in order to reunite with Hajime. Meanwhile, Hajime and Yue carried on with their adventure to search for an exit from the labyrinth, killing every single monster that stood in their path. However, their strengths were truly put to the test at the final floor of the labyrinth. Upon entering the room, a large magic circle formed on the ground before a monster which resembled a monster from the legends, the Hydra, was summoned into the room. Despite its large size, the two were confident that they were able to defeat it without an issue. How wrong they were. Not only did this Hydra have 6 heads, which meant that they would be attacked from 6 different directions, but each head had a special ability as well, with one of the heads capable of using a defensive spell, while another was capable of healing itself. This made the fight much more difficult for the two, but they were still able to handle the situation well. In fact, the fight even seemed to have been going their way. Though that all changed when a 7th head formed on the monster's body, before firing out a massive beam at Yue. Because of this, Hajime quickly stepped into the picture, shielding Yue from the devastating attack, which put him at death's door. Wanting to save him this time around, Yue re-entered the fight with Donner in her hands. But even a direct hit from a bullet had only scratched its thick skin. It almost seemed like there was no hope for the two. However, Hajime, against the odds, managed to get back up once more and tilt the tides back at his favor. With that, Hajime and Yue coordinated with one another for one final attack, which managed to kill the Hydra once and for all. And after the fight was over, Hajime collapsed into a pool of his own blood. Moving back to the surface for the last time in this volume. Essentially, after returning from the Orcus Labyrinth, the group returned back to the palace, and in a couple days' time, they were all invited to the party which was used to welcome the nobles from the Hajime Empire. In said party, the king of the empire, Gahad, challenged Koki to a fight, but lost interest in it as he believed him to be too weak. This was more or less a summary of everything which had happened in the surface, so let's quickly move on back to Hajime and Yue. Upon waking up from his slumber, the two headed to the main room where they were greeted by a recording of the person who created the labyrinth, Oscar Orcus. With that, he begins to tell the truth regarding the tale of the Mavericks and the evil god. He explained that the Mavericks, who are really called the Liberators, only had one goal in mind: to eradicate the mad god, Ehit. This came about after they learned of their true goals, which is to control every species and to have them fight each other as if they were pawns for the sake of their entertainment. This obviously angered them, and they sought out after Ehit and planned on killing him. However, they failed, and every single liberator was killed one by one, until the strongest of the seven was the only one standing. However, before their deaths, each one of them built the labyrinth. The true purpose of the labyrinth, which was scattered throughout Tortoise, was revealed to the two. It was so that people who were able to conquer the trials in it would not only learn their ancient magic, but utilize it in order to carry out their goal of killing Ehit. This had been the message left behind by the Liberator, known as Oscar Orcus. The moment the message disappeared, Hajime was struck with mental pain, and he slowly realized that he was acquiring knowledge to use one of the ancient magic which originated from the Age of Gods, creation magic. And after spending 2 months recovering and training inside Orcus's hideout, Hajime and Yue finally departed from the labyrinth, ready to take the world by storm as the world's strongest. However, unknown to them, waiting outside the exit of the labyrinth was a girl with long blue hair, already ready to bring them on their next adventure. And this marks the end of part 3 of the Arifureta recap series. Now, I would like to sincerely apologize for the lack of consistency for the series, especially when season 2 is about to be out, but I shall do my best to finish this series before it does. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to check out the other 2 parts of the series. Also, be sure to like and comment the video if you enjoyed it, and most importantly of all, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more anime related videos on the channel. With that all said and done, it's time to end the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye guys!